recording. Welcome to the Arts Connect Houston Arts Are SmART Session 2. So the Arts Are SmART series are designed to help families engage with the possibilities that are out there in HISD and in the Houston community to get your student connected with the arts. We'll be talking today about how to support student artists, how families can really make their student artists feel welcome and supported as they start their journey in the arts. Our speaker today, we're so happy to welcome Sonia Corman, who is the K-12 dance curriculum specialist at the HISD Fine Arts Department. Welcome, Sonia.
Thank you for invitation. Good afternoon or good evening, at what time of the day you're going to listen to this. Thank you for this invitation. I am a curriculum specialist for dance in HISD in Fine Arts Department, and I'm working along with our Fine Arts Director, Mr. Brendan Sanders, and other curriculum specialists for theater, Mr. Jared Berry. For music, we have Dr. Damian Price. In visual art is Ricky Politer and Miss Chandel Hancock. I'm introducing them right here, so in case that you would like later on to reach out to our specialist, you will have the information at the end of the session.
Thanks, Sonia. You know, the HISD Fine Arts Department has just such a wealth of talent on the team and a great resource if you're interested in learning more about what's available in HISD. So our session today really focuses on how you as a family member, a parent, a guardian, an aunt, an uncle, whatever role you play in a student's life, how you can support a student who's interested in the arts. So we'll go through a few simple strategies. And we'll start here, taking your children to performances and art exhibits. So Houston is an extremely art-rich community. We're huge and we have a lot to offer. So we wanted to think of some ideas, some ways that you can access the arts easily with your family. So one of my favorites, I grew up going to Miller Outdoor Theater, which is located near the Houston Zoo. Miller has free concerts and performances throughout the year. They do matinees in the during the day, and they also have weekend performances in the evening. It's free to attend, free to park. There's also Discovery Green in downtown Houston that offers free performances throughout the year. Same thing there. They're free to the public and they have a diverse offering. There's also many museums and galleries in the Houston area that are free to visit. The Contemporary Arts Museum Houston, Lawndale Art Center, the Houston Center for Contemporary Craft are all in the museum district and free to the public every day. The Holocaust Museum is also free to the public. In Montrose, there's the Menil Collection that is open to the public and the entire campus, which has a series of museum spaces are free. The Museum of Fine Arts Houston is free to the public on Thursdays. So those are some visual art spaces. Sonia, do you have any thoughts on performance spaces that are worth checking out in Houston?
There are so many places in Houston where some students are invited to perform, usually on those that you just mentioned, but also on in different parks in the city. So Herman Park is one of the possibilities where usually we do have some performances from our dancers or from bands, and they come and even choirs, they come and perform, and this is beautiful to watch. And of course, the audience is engaged, and it's beautiful to see that interaction in a different kind of environment as well. So art is happening everywhere, and it doesn't have to be always in enclosed spaces, and it doesn't always have to be a really theatrical stage. So it can be a concrete floor or just a park, but it's still beautiful performance. On the other side, we are very much collaborating with arts organizations in the city and performing places in the city. So HSD Fine Arts is working with organizations to enable students visit places such as Match or Hobby Center or Houston Ballet and so on, Alley Theater. So those are all places where we can, for very reduced price, we can really enter the beautiful world of performing arts and enjoy all these professional performances.
That's wonderful. So, one of the great ways to encourage your student to really invest and engage in the arts is to just learn to talk to your children about the arts. It sounds so simple, but we're going to talk about a few strategies on how you can do that. So first we'll talk about visual art and how you can engage your student in really having a conversation about what they're seeing. So when you're looking at a painting or a drawing, there are simple things that you can ask them about. Ask them to describe what they're seeing. Simple colors, the shapes, the patterns, the lines, whether they're seeing the forms of people or animals, if they're seeing plants or flowers, if they're seeing building structures or architecture, or if they're seeing natural landscapes with mountains or streams. Just getting your student talking about what they see is the first step in really analyzing art. And then you can move on to asking them how the picture makes them feel. Does it make them feel happy? Does it make them have a sense of sadness? Does it make them want to giggle? That emotional connection to the art is so important. Art really moves us, and the sooner that a student can start to express that, the more engaged they'll feel. And then you can ask them questions like, what are they interpreting out of the piece? Does it look like the painting describes a holiday? Is it a specific time of day? Does it look like dawn because of the light that they're seeing? Are the people in the painting in a certain kind of clothing that makes them think that this is a period of time in history? Ask them to share with you what details they're seeing that make them think that the piece has more of a story.
I would like to add to it a little bit because
Sure.
I think that it's important to immediately ask your children to connect and respond to art, what they are observing, by asking them about the impressions, like you just explained, but at the same time, what they like the most and why, and would they be able to do the similar things if it's a painting or drawing or coloring, and can they try to draw or paint, and this is an additional activity that you can bring home and then say, okay, you have an area of the things and examples what you can ask your children to paint or draw, but at the same time you can see what they are learning and how you can connect this art in with their daily activities as well, and impressions about art in general.
I love that. Taking what you've learned in the day and putting it into action immediately. That's wonderful. So let's talk about music and how we can engage with conversations around music. So we can ask students how what they're hearing, if they can tell what instrument they're hearing or what kind of instrument. Perhaps your student might not know the difference between a clarinet and an oboe, but they may be able to say, oh, well, that's something, that's a horn, that's something that you blow into, depending on the age of the student. um, you can certainly ask, are those some form of drums? Is that a piano? um, uh, you can ask questions like, how is this making you feel? How does the music make you feel energized? Does the music make you feel sleepy? Does the music make you feel calm? Does the music make you feel warm? Um, what are some other strategies that you enjoy when engaging with music, Sonia?
I love recognizing the tunes. So, like, for example, something what currently in many advertisements we can hear the very recognizable tunes, like either from musical theater, movies, or classical music that is like rewritten or done in variation. So you can really recognize it and say, hey, I know this from somewhere, and or exact the names. So even if it's a nutcracker, then you can recognize the tune that, oh, that's Tchaikovsky. And of course then you are reminding yourself as a parent at the same time you are teaching your child about valuable music that we are listening to. I would also encourage parents to perceive the music differently, not only through the instruments and the plays, but you can also sing. And I would love that parents are encouraging students to sing, because that's in human nature, and we are all feeling much better when we are singing something out, like, and or enjoying like the tunes from the recognizable maybe movies. So children's movies right now, there are so many beautiful songs that kids can sing and dance along. I would encourage that, and let them sing out loud without shyness, and that's another skill that you are teaching them. But yes, we have beautiful artists in this country and in this city especially, so I would encourage that too.
We also encourage that when you're thinking about music, think of a wide variety of music, including heritage, thinking about your own cultural heritage, but also teaching about the cultural heritage of your neighbors. Houston's a really diverse city, and we have lots of opportunities to engage with cultures other than our own. And I think that there is a lot to be learned, both for your student, but also for yourself as an adult. We're all lifelong learners, so this is something that benefits
That
the
that
entire
is
family.
correct. It's so beautiful in this city. It's such a vibrant cultural city, diverse cultures. So we have so many celebrations in the city, and then why not just visit those celebrations and days of heritage, celebrating any heritages, and they will have, besides the good music and good dance, they will also have good food. Why not? So it is interesting, and I would suggest to start always from your own home, from your own heritage and culture, and teach your children how to dance, whatever it is. Like, is it cultural dance, folk dance, ethnic dance, or just plain simple social dance that you're doing on parties, weddings, and any other family gatherings. So, yes, that's part of life, but at the same time, it's art. So you are teaching your children that portion of the art, which is dance, but at the same time, you can also connect this with even maybe traditional costuming or outfits. So yeah, they can make the connections and see where they're stemming from. And at the same time, you can be teaching them to open mind. And it's like it's not only going to museum or going to the performing places to experience art, you can experience it on the street, in the parks with other people from different cultures and different heritages. They can share that tradition and their art with you on the spot.
I love that. It's such a good way to celebrate who we are and how we come together. So our next strategy is listening to a wide variety of music, both at home and in the car too. Sounds simple. When you're listening to music, it's important to kind of mix it up. There's a place for classical music. There's a place for contemporary music. There's much, to the point that we were just sharing about the cultural heritage in the city. We have access to so many different forms of music from around the world. And it's important to expose yourself to all of those and expose your students to all of those. And we will go back to the idea of, as you're engaging, you can talk about it. You can say, what do you like about this? Oh, you can say, do you like how fast this music is? Do you like this because it's slower? You can share your opinions. It's okay to say, I really like this about one piece of music. I like this about another piece of music. It's important to learn to appreciate parts and pieces of a variety of different styles of music.
Yes, that's also how do you feel about it when you listen to music, and why we are saying, oh, give me some kind of lift me up music, or what is relaxing music for? And starting from these simple attribution to the music, we are helping our children to decide in the future how to help themselves. And it's like part of wellness as well.
Absolutely.
So music is known that is helping our brain development, and it's important that students are always exposed to music in rhythm, and therefore music can really make good changes on your mood, and we should embrace this.
Absolutely. Just the pick me up that you need someday.
Yes.
Here's another one. Watching art programs and videos together as a family. It's a great way to take in information in a simple passive format. You can sit down as a family. You can make popcorn if you eat popcorn. So we've made a list of a few things that we really enjoy at the Arts Connect team. There's a show called Art 21 that's got multiple seasons. It's available on several different streaming platforms, and it focuses on a theme for each episode and engages with a few professional artists who've been working in that theme. And it's a really lovely entry point to the world of arts and crafts. There's another show called Abstract, The Art of Design, that really looks at how art is infiltrating every part of our lives and how art is more than just what hangs on the walls in museums, but is in every object that we hold, in the spaces that we move through. A great way to make those connections. I grew up watching PBS. There's just a ton of wonderful, wonderful shows across different disciplines, not just the visual arts, but PBS is a great place to engage with classical theater and plays that have been produced for the TV format, but were written to be uh, performed on stages. So, great way to engage in classical work that's been put through the modern lens. We also encourage the Houston Public Library as a resource. You can check out videos. They have a great uh, list of digital videos that you can check out. So you can actually go in person and check out a DVD, or you can access materials just directly through your computer as well. Are there any great digital
I
media that you love, Sonia?
There are so many in dance world. Of course, there are so many. Like Go Noodle is like something what is really fun, sing along or kids bop or those dance along and singing along videos and little video lessons. Um, but I wanted to talk a little bit about classical films and classical movies and about even different cultural and different heritage movies that you can show to your student, especially if you are speaking different language than English. That would be interesting how your child can really perceive any movie. And in that movie, usually they have some kind of a performances, either it's singing or dancing or music, so that can be also easily recognizable. It is beautiful that we can share this as well. We are trying to do this in our schools when we are having in finance education. We are always trying to incorporate world resources from any kind of finance areas, but I think that it is really important to start from your own home and in your own culture to whatever you're teaching your child.
Such a good point. You just made me think that I grew up watching Bollywood movies with all those amazing dance scenes and costume.
Yes. Yes. And it's like we can even talk about this a little bit more because every of these ethnical, cultural, traditional dances and performances are carrying a lot more information to it. And you're learning about the environment, you're learning geographically where this is stemming from, and you're connecting globally. So this is really important to do this for your children.
Very
Mm.
true. So, our next big tip is being your child's biggest art fan. Again, this one sounds pretty simple, but we're going to go through a few strategies on how you can really, really encourage your student. So, there's simple things like encouraging play. Sonia was talking about and encouraging your student to sing along and dance along with you, but also to make up songs and to make up
Mhm.
dances. There's a world of imagination out there. Another strategy is having old clothing, old shoes, jewelry items for your student to dress up, to express themselves, to come up with a play, to come up with a
Yes.
production.
This
Um,
this is amazing that you just mentioned this. Like it reminds me on pretended play, and the best is when you let and motivate your child to actually do pretended plays. Like in that sense, they are not only practicing what is possible to be done, and not only practicing that particular art, but everything what it goes to that performance and organizing that performance. So pretended play is fantastic thing because you can unintentionally you're developing other skills, soft skills, which you are transferring to any other area in your life, and in this case would be another content area. So when your child comes to um, biology class, let's say it, and it's asked to present something, that child would not be any more scared to present. So it will have that poise and manners of and be confident to really present that PowerPoint and that speech or to say something in front of other people. So this is just one instance, like connecting those skills that we are teaching in arts. And I think that is very, very important to let children to do this, because especially when they're doing pretend play, you're allowing them to imagine and create. And imagination and creation are actually all the skills absolutely necessary for 21st century, and they cannot like really learn nor be ready for college or career if they don't go through all of these skills and learn these skills to function properly in the society. So I think arts are absolutely necessary and playing key role in this education. So start from pretended play.
Yeah, I love that. I love the idea of encouraging that imagination. So even simple things like if your student is sharing an idea, have some paper ready, have some crayons or something and say, that's a great idea, draw it for me. And keep those pieces. One of the strategies is making your fridge a museum. I
Yes.
love that one. I love it because, you know, those artifacts, they become pieces of your student's history. And it's really important as your student gets older to be able to look back and say, look at all the creativity that you've had, that you've shown through the years. You know, it really builds confidence when your student sees that you value all of those ideas. And it's just kind of fun and a great way to decorate your home too. So our next one is be accepting and encouraging of your child's artistic efforts. This is another one that seems pretty simple, but we're going to go into a few strategies on how you can do this. So the first one, Sonia and I have talked about this before. There are no right or wrong answers in art. If you're making art, you're doing it correctly. You can hone skills, but if you are making, it is right. All art is right. Um, and you know, art really does create that avenue that Sonia was talking about to build confidence, not just within making art, but in the big picture of how your child is presenting themselves in group settings, how they're moving in and out of social environments. So it's very important to encourage them and make them feel good about whatever they're making, wherever they are in their journey. And if your child asks, this one is an interesting one. If your child asks if you like their work, rather than saying, yes, I like it, it's very important to actually make comments on what you see. Because saying you like something is just a value judgment, but saying, I appreciate the way that you have drawn this house in perspective shows that you're really engaging in what they're doing and helping them think through and brainstorm ways to hone their skills and improve as well.
And most importantly, you are allowing your child to accept critique and feedback as a positive thing. This is like a big necessity in today's world. Our students really need to be open-minded and learn how to accept critique in a positive way, so that it's not turning you down, but to have that expectations that other people, other audience can provide critique and feedback because they are responding to your art that you made, but it's nothing negatively. It is just the way of responding to the art.
Yeah, and in the same vein, you know, when you're making art or music together, it can be easy sometimes if your student has hit a tough patch or is having a bit of difficulty working through something to do it for them. But it's very important for us as adults to let students go through the process. And even if it's difficult, encourage them. And however they approach it, tell them that they're doing a great job, but let them finish, let them create. It's better to make something and make it a little messy than be worried about making something perfect and not make it all.
Mhm.
Another thing is instead of guessing when you see your students' work, you might ask them what they've created. It might look like a house to you, but really it's a rocket. So Ask first, you might get a really surprising answer. Students have amazing imaginations, and we sometimes may not see the full story. So we should leave room for them to give us the narrative that goes along with their work. Now, our next one. Now, this is a great.
You mentioned, I would just really add something to it. Like you mentioned, um, letting more combinations about the visual art, and I would like to say that it's important also to talk to your child and say, hey, you did really perform that well, whatever it is. And I know that if it's like playing an instrument, then or singing, and or like I said, using pretend and play, or maybe creating uh, a, a drama scene for the parents or the family members, it's fine. So we can all do this, but it's important that encouragement to constantly talk about it and say that valuable things about it.
And maybe even join in,
Yes, of
offer to
course,
be a
especially if it's
willing
dance.
participant.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
let your student direct you.
of
That is the
course.
ultimate compliment, right?
Yes.
So Sonia, I'd love to hear from you about some ways that we can encourage students to participate in art activities at school.
Yes, we do have so many things going on. So we are really trying to uh, educate our audiences that basically arts are a very valuable component of the every child growth and education. So we are trying to offer arts activities and classes and instruction in every corner of this district. But it's not always so possible. So in fine arts teachers are providing these arts, and they are trying to collaborate with arts organizations as well in the city to organize field trips and to organize residencies at the school, or collaborative projects. And so your child is always exposed to art or participating in art in some way. It can be during the school, it can be after the school, it can be, like I said, collaborative with arts organizations, which I'm really, really priding myself that we can always say that we are a huge city with so many organizations, arts organizations, willing to come to the district and work with the district. So that's one of the ways of doing this. And of course, like I mentioned, those field trips where we can bring our students to the big stages, and such as John's Hall or Houston Ballet or Alley Theater and so on, where they have student matinees performances. And I would suggest that you, as a parent, serve as a chaperone, and then you can really learn and see what else and how else you can talk to your own child, and how you can encourage them to participate in arts activities. Don't be afraid of letting your child participate in arts activities and in art in general, in fine arts classes. Is, like I said, this is a crucial portion of their development. They need to learn those skills because they cannot learn them anywhere else. They are learning to imagine, create, and produce, and perform, and exhibit, and all these uh, only in the fine arts classes and in fine arts activities. So I would like that you can encourage your child always to participate in something.
Absolutely. Engaging in the arts has been proven to help students fine tune other skills. It helps makes connections when you're thinking about learning math skills. It helps students work through critical thinking and analysis ideas when they're thinking
Mm-hmm.
about writing. Um, And art has a heavy hand in the sciences and historically has always been a big part of the science world. So there's connections across the academic spectrum for bringing the arts into your life. And Sonia brings up a great point about all of the organizations in the city that provide programming for youth. So we encourage, if you are interested in engaging in the arts with your student, to talk to your representatives at your campus and see what opportunities they are. And if you're interested in specific forms of art, bring that up with the folks at your students' campus and have those conversations because they probably want to know with what you're interested in. It really helps guide, who campuses partner with. Campuses can bring dance, theater, music, visual arts, and even creative writing experiences onto their campus to engage with your
Mm-hmm.
students. That is available. So, Sonia, I want to thank you so much for giving us some of your time today and having this wonderful conversation. It's so exciting to talk to someone who also loves the arts.
Art, Arts is everywhere, and I'm always here to help out. And it was my pleasure.
So, the Arts Are Smart series has a few more sessions to come, so keep an eye out for the next sessions. And in the meantime, if you have questions about what's available in the city, whether it be through HISD or organizations that are providing programming, on weekends and over the summer, this slide has information for how to connect with the Fine Arts Department. The HISD Fine Arts Department has a great online presence and does a lot of resource sharing. And you can also connect with Arts Connect Houston. We have 90 plus arts and culture partners around the city that we work with, all of whom have amazing programming available. So if you have questions about how to get engaged with the arts, just reach out to one of us. We are always ready to talk about it. And thank you for joining us today.